Alright, so the tune that we're going to learn today is a famous choro waltz called Desvairada. This can be played in a variety of speeds and difficulty levels, but I'm just going to show you a basic way that is going to be very useful. And what I advise you to do is take advantage of learning a tune and analyze the melody completely so that you can acquire that knowledge and it becomes sort of your vocabulary for improvisation. Everything that you take from the tune, if you understand what it is, it becomes your own. So this tune is in D minor and it starts with a D minor arpeggio. It's actually arpeggios going up and down. So it's a perfect opportunity for you to learn arpeggios and think about it as if you're learning two things. You're learning a tune and at the same time you're learning arpeggios. So the very first shape is a D minor shape of an arpeggio. Starting on the fifth right here, you play the D string, which is your tonic, and the fifth. And you come down playing the arpeggio. 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1. One little feature you can use is actually approach the fifth here by chromatic leading tone before you start. Okay, so I play the arpeggio from the fifth all the way to the fifth, knowing that I'm doing legatos right here. There's a pull off and a pull off right here. And in this hand, what's happening here is I'm repeating the A. I'm using the A on here and then A and A. So I got A, M, I, and thumb. And then you go back. Here is the legato. I'm playing 5, 1, doing a legato to 3. That's a hammer-on. So just this is something that you've learned now, and you can apply it to any song you want, anywhere, not just D minor. If you're playing in a song that starts with E minor or has an E minor anywhere within the song, you could just change the shape here to here. Or F minor. So you take that for yourself and you can use it anytime. As the song continues, now you respond with the dominant arpeggio, A7, starting on the 7th. Now we're going to do a legato to the 5th, and then play. Yeah, so you play the 7, the 5, and 3, 7, 1. I'm skipping the tonic here. We're not playing the tonic this time. Just the 7th chord. 3, 7, 5, 3, 1. Take advantage of learning this and understand what's going on behind the intervals so that you acquire that to yourself and you can play it anywhere. So here we go. What did I just do here? Just a little legato, a little embellishment. Again, I'm using A for this, and then I shift my hand position from A down here to AMI on the 3 strings above. No longer here, but here. So I have this. So you got finger A and A again. And now I repeat the arpeggio going down. And then I go up here. So what's going on here? Like I said, you need to always analyze what you're playing so that you know the intervals. So as I do this, it is flat 9, tonic, and 7. So from the beginning. Now as we continue, this is called a skip. Basically, I'm using the line goes like this. But instead of playing it like that, you can play the F here, which is the sharp 5 of A. And then the E goes on the open string. Becomes an arpeggio. You play the F and then you immediately play here AMI. And then I use my thumb to play. What's going on right here? This is the encapsulation of tonic. Why is the upper neighbor chromatic? It is not really chromatic. Like I said before, as you study the encapsulation, I told you the upper neighbor is always a scale tone. It's the next scale tone available. What scale are we using here? The scale tone that we are using here is the Phrygian dominant, the fifth mode of the harmonic minor. So the Phrygian dominant has a flat 9, so that's why I'm using the flat 9 as the upper neighbor. Both here. And the technique that I personally use here when I get to here is the thumb alternation. So, right there. Notice how the thumb moves up. And then, and right here, this is an encapsulation of the tonic. I have the sharp 5 of the dominant chord, major third, and as I play the major third, what I'm doing is this, encapsulating the tonic of D. So I play the third of A, the fifth of A, and resolve to the tonic of D. So let's look into the first part of the song. And here we're starting again. Now is the change. You go from the minor third of D minor, which is F, and you pull off down to the E. Why am I pulling off down to E? Because now the chord is A minor. We're going to do an arpeggio of A minor. Just a straight up arpeggio, very simple. 5-3-1, 5-3-1. So again, flat 6 of A, but this is really not a flat 6, is the third of D, moving down to the fifth of A. So you got 5-3-1, 5-3-1. So down and up. The technique I'm using is the same thing as always. I'm doing A, and I'm repeating A finger right here on the second string, doing A, M, I, and the thumb only comes up on the fifth string. And now the next chord is E7, and we're going to do an arpeggio of E7. And here again, encapsulation of tonic. So I got this. So it's just an arpeggio. This song is great for learning arpeggios because it's all it is. It's a bunch of arpeggios. So you got 1, 7, 5, 3, and encapsulation of 1. Flat 9, 1, leading tone 1. So we got. So let's go from the beginning. And now we top it out with a dominant A arpeggio, but it's twice as fast. So what's happening here? It's just a way of fingering that was taught to me by Alessandro Penesi, one of the greatest masters of Brazilian guitar. He basically uses this fingering right here. This is an A dominant. You got 7, 5, 3, 1. And then as we need to keep going down the arpeggio, instead of using this G here for the 7, which would be very complicated, this would be the more difficult way. The way that he thought about playing this was like this. As you get to this A, played with the I finger, because again, I'm doing A on the E string, and then I move my 3 fingers from these 3 top strings to the 3 middle strings. So I get this. The A plays twice. A, M, I. And then now I'm gonna do A on the G string so that I can do this. So notice how the A works. A works on E, B, and G string. E, B, and G. And when I get to here, I am playing the arpeggio of A. That's 7, 5, 3, 1. And then I just go back up. And then it starts again. So let's do it again. One more time. This is a great exercise, great technical exercise. You can use this just as a warm-up. Do it a bunch of times as you're watching a movie or whatever. Just keep hitting it. Just keep hitting it. Again. And then go back to the tonic, back to the beginning of the song. I personally, when I hit this situation here, since these are all free strokes, you're just doing free strokes, I also do this on free stroke. See, so my finger is not doing, not rest stroke, but free. Because you're coming from a situation where your hand is in a posture where you're doing all free strokes, so you just finish off the line by doing free stroke. So you got that. And then you're back in the beginning of the song. Now the ending of it, as you get here, is you're going to do a D dominant song, a D dominant chord. So it goes. So what's going on? He's simply arpeggiating the D chord using the extensions of the Phrygian dominant scale, which means, in this case, flat 9. So you got flat 9, tonic, 7, 5, 3. And here he pulls the string and pulls off twice because these two open strings are part of the chord. So you got 3, 1, 7, 5. Again. So let's go from that. And then, so what's this? Still the same chord. The extension flat 5, flat 6, which I just told you, he's using the extensions of the Phrygian dominant. So you got flat 6, 5, 3, 1. And now to finish it off, he does a G arpeggio, just doing the leading tone approximation. This can be played in many ways. The video that I have on the internet, I try to interpret the A section in different ways so that you build it up and you make it more interesting. The very first time I did it rubato, which means no beat. So I just enunciate the arpeggios very slowly, very sentimentally, like this. So you kind of let it breathe. So you kind of play it expressively. And then the second time I play it in tempo, and the third time I play it a lot faster. So on the first time that I get to this G minor moment here, so the first time that I get this G minor part here, instead of playing like this, and again, this would be a perfect way to play, because you have 3 notes, play 3 finger rest stroke. But I don't play it like that. I do like this. I do a harmonization of the notes and sliding like this. That's how I chose to do it the first time. I'm harmonizing the tonic with the minor third down below. Because if I did it with the fifth, it sounds too straight, like the perfect fifth. It's not a rich interval. The minor third is a much rich interval. In this case, it's inverted as a major 6. The minor third and the major 6 are the same interval inverted. In other words, the major 6 below the tonic is the same note as the minor third above the tonic. That's why I say it's inverted. So I go minor third and then minor third. This is the third and fifth, and then another way you could do this is by using the thumb like this. Hybrid technique, thumb going up and down and sweeping down. So you choose your best pick. Some players like Rafael Rabelo used to play it legato, like that. That's yet another way. So you got 4 choices. And then to finish off the A section, chromatic approximation of the fifth. And then it goes. Notice how this is right off of the explanation that I gave you on melodic execution. He is approximating the fifth or embellishing the fifth with the leading tone. And then encapsulation of the third. You got the third right here. How do we encapsulate it? Leading tone, upper neighbor, and target. So you got, and then the arpeggio. Here, the straight up arpeggio, and this is approximation of the fifth by upper neighbor. You got upper neighbor, flat 6, and target 5. So this explains this. And then to finish it off, He's doing this right here. So how do we explain this? Basically, there's different ways to explain it. This here is, I look at it as an inversion of the E7. And I'm just about to give you an analysis of this first part, harmonic analysis, which is crucial for us to understand the music. This here is an inversion of E7, flat 9. How so? It has the bass on the 3rd. Here you got the flat 9, here the 5th. Here the flat 9 going down to the tonic. And then here, this is a cadence we call, in music theory, called a plagal cadence. A plagal cadence is when you resolve towards the tonic without using the dominant. The dominant is what we call authentic cadence. This is 5 to 1. And the plagal cadence is 4 to 1. So we got 4, 1. That also works as a cadence. So we got E7, G minor, and you're repeating the top note. F, E, F, E. So that makes it a G minor 7, moving down to the 6, and then 1. Now, as we finish off the first part of the song, you do an arpeggio of 1. The arpeggio is tonic on the open string, and you skip here to the 3rd. I'm just going to do 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. So I'm doing 1 here, and then skipping to the 3rd, and you go 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. So the technique that I'm using is I'm playing 1 with the I finger and then using thumb 1, 2, thumb 1, 2, or thumb I am. It's a very easy way to play the arpeggio. Let me analyze real quick the harmony of the song so that you understand what's going on. It starts on 1, 5, 5, 1. Second part, 1, and then it modulates to the 5th degree as minor. So momentarily, A minor becomes your 1, and you do what we call tonicization. Tonicization is when you play a substitute dominant. In this case, E7 is the dominant of A minor. So you're playing the dominant of A minor. That's what we call tonicization. So you got E7, and as it moves back to A, the A appears as dominant, which points us back to D minor. 5, 5, and then D7. D7, we analyze it as a 5 of 4, because 4 is G minor, so you're looking at a D7 is the 5 pointing to the direction of the 4, and then you go back to 1. E7, basically this is called a 5 of 5, because every time you have an E7, it's usually going to point to A7 and then D. But the composer chose to go E7, plagal cadence, G minor, and E, sorry, D. So that's really what's going on. So you got here D minor, A7, A7, D minor, D minor, A minor, modulation, 5 of A, 5, A7, D7, flat 9, 4, 1, 5 of 5, plagal, 1. Now this song, as many choros, it's made of 3 parts, A, B, and C, normally disposed as AA, BB, A, C, C, and back to A. And you can open usually the C section for improvisation, which is what I did in my video. Now here we're going to look at the C part. The C part basically takes the relative major of the key as its new key. So what is the relative major of D minor? If D minor is Aeolian, our Ionian is going to be F major. And it starts on the dominant of Ionian, which is C. And the melody starts on the 9th right here. got very much the arpeggio straight up, but starting on the ninth. 9, 1, 7, 5, 3, 1, 7, and back up. And that which is the ninth, the D note, which is the ninth in the C, is the sixth in the F. So notice how it sounds good. It's very friendly. So you do. Now, I'll be honest with you that I interpreted this song in my YouTube channel using the 7-string guitar, which here I took it off so that as a request from some of the students from this course, because I understand most of you have a 6-string guitar. So I have refingered, have made new choices in order to adapt the way that I used to play for the 6-string guitar. And that is this. The bass is now here on the 6th string, whereas before I used to play the bass on the 7th string, which was tuned to C. So here I go like this. And then here I'm using the bass on F. Okay, and then you just do the arpeggio like that. I'm barring it here on 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. And then this is going to be the only hard part because of the lack of the 6th string, the 7th string. You go back on the arpeggio all the way here to the tonic, and then you go. This is a slide of one finger. And then from here on, you're going to think about the A7 chord. But there's different ways to play it. If you would like to choose, you can do like this. You can play, for example, the bass on C over the C dominant. And then here you can just not use the bass on F and just let the arpeggio speak for itself. The arpeggio enunciates and makes clear the F chord. So that's another way to play it. If you don't want to have to do that slide, which is kind of uncomfortable, you can just go. Okay, so let's pick up from here. So I would probably suggest the second choice might be even better. Here, what I did is I did this finger, and then you can either slide it back or use the second one. But what's important is that you have the third one here on A, which is the third of F. And then here you are on the cage system, the C shape for F major chord. And now here, the next chord is going to be A7. A7 is, if we are in F now, how do we analyze that? A7 is a dominant chord. Every dominant chord usually points a direction. A7 is the 5 of whom? It's the 5 of D. So if D is the 6th degree in this B part, then we're looking at a 5 of 6. That's how you would analyze that, 5 of 6. And the way he plays it, in this chromatic line, the A chord enters right at the flat 9. And then we do the skipping technique, which is something that's very common in Brazilian guitar and in classical guitar, which is to do an arpeggio and to take advantage of the presence of an open string as a chord tone in order for you to go from one place of the guitar, of the neck, to another. You use the open string as a free time for you to jump. So here's what happens. It's flat 9, 1, 7, 5 will be the next, and the 5 is used as the open string. And we do the same exact path as we did before on the A part when you go like this. Right? You use the open string, and then you skip from this position to this position using 5, 3, 1. So here is the same thing that happened on the first on the A. Again, this is my own take, okay, of this piece. Different players may play with different takes, but I like to use the hybrid technique with the thumb going up and down like a pick right here, encapsulating the tonic of A. So you got, and that D dominant is the same path, melodic path that we encountered at the A part. So you got, that's the D dominant part. And then now what he's going to do is he's going to use a diminished chord off of the B, or it really can be done as a G7 chord. A G7 chord works as the 5 of 5 in the key of F. Who's 5? Is C. 5 of C is G. And he uses this in an interesting way. I personally consider the use of the 5 of 5 kind of a very happy, it gives it a very emotional emotionally happy vibe. And then usually goes to 5, but in this case he just went G7 back to 1. That's the choice of the composer. So I personally like what he does, but it's a kind of an uncommon treatment of harmony to do a 5/5 without the resolution to 5. So after this this D7, you got the G7 arpeggio starting on the 3rd. So you got this. So 3, 5 on the open string, 7, 1, 3 on the open string is the B note. We're looking at the root as G, okay? So 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7. Great little chord position here for a G dominant. And you can use this, go ahead and learn this as a inversion, first inversion of dominant chord. Say if you wanted to play a C dominant, for example, you can use that same shape right here. 3rd, 7th, tonic, and 5th. Here he uses like this. So he uses the open string as well. And then this note moves down to A as we go back to F. And then he arpeggiates the F chord starting on A. So it's like both chords are in first inversion, starting on the 3rd. You got... This is arpeggio. When he gets to the top, he does a chromatic movement between 5 and 6. So the 6 pulls off to the 5th, and you go back on the arpeggio. So you got pull off 5, 3, 1, 5, 3. So you got this. And then the phrase next is... This is an authentic 5/5. You got G7. I personally like to use the bass on the 5th, like a second inversion, because I learned this from a Yamandu Costa recording. I picked that up from his recording, and I noticed he used this, so I kind of just adopted that way, and I've been playing this way since then. So the melody goes... So this is on the 5/5, G7 is working as a 5/C. Here in the harmonization, I also took this from Yamandu Costa. What he does is harmonize in 6s. Instead of simply doing, I'm using that finger as well. It's a nice little effect. So you got, and then, so this is a C7. Or a C sus because you got the 4th instead of the 3rd. And then the 9th, which is D, moves down to the tonic. So, or you can keep the bar here if you find more convenient, but you're just not going to use it. Nice exercise. And then going back, we've reached the half of the B section. So now the second half starts the same way. And now, instead of playing the G7, we're going to play an E7 chord. Okay? Yeah, so the E7 starts on the tonic. You go 1, 3, 5, 7. 1, 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7. I'm using the thumb on the 2 first bass strings. There, up to here. This is the legato. And then from here, you resolve down to A, which is the 3rd of F. Meaning we're back on F, so you got E7. F again. The same way as before. You're going from the F inverted because the 3rd is on the bass, and you go 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. This is perfect for you to be able to learn these intervals if you haven't yet, because it's crucial. It's crucial. The way that I think about music and about the guitar is absolutely everything I play, without any exception, I'm always seeing the interval, and this enables me, although it requires a little bit more concentration, it enables me to evolve much faster than a guitar player who doesn't think this way. I'm thinking now, this is the shape that I'm using. from the song, straight up F major. And then connect the 5th to the 6th and pull off back to the 5th. So we got, and the last phrase is 5 of 5, G, 5, and 1. So we got like a 2-5-1, but it's not really a 2-5, it's a 5 of 5, 5-1. And what he does is, that's the melody. So in order to harmonize this melody, you can use this shape right here. That's for the G7, okay? The melody goes 9-1. I like to play like this. Since it's a waltz, I use this technique. I use thumb, and then I use finger 1, like the double stroke technique. I'm detaching finger 1 from fingers 2 and 3 to get this effect instead of, I go. So you get one extra little note there to make the rhythm more rich. So you got, and I also use the muffling technique here to get more staccato sound. When you want to be more expressive and use the staccato, you can go, okay? So you got G here, could be, but this will be too much work. You got, yeah, so this here counts for a C. You're basically playing G, and then as you move this back, you could think about it as being a B flat, but the way I think about it really is as being a C, okay? A C chord because the bass is on the 7. That's the chord that I'm thinking about. But you can see it in two different ways. You can see it as a B flat chord if you like, and that would make it again a plagal cadence. Like I explained to you before, the plagal cadence is the movement of the 4th degree to 1. So here we go. And then the arpeggio to end the B part goes right here. So you got 5 1 5 3 1 5. Sorry, 1 3 5 1 3 5 1. This here is a little F major. Just got the triad right here, thinking from this shape, and I got a tonic on top. So the B part goes. And then it goes back to A. In this part, you can add a cadence if you want, meaning a 1 point of interpretation over the dominant chord to generate tension in order to resolve. So you can just improvise if you'd like on the A7, which is the dominant chord that's going to lead us back into 1. So you got the A7 chord right here. I personally kind of went into a flamenco mode in this point of the song, trying to build some energy and excitement on this tension chord here. So you can do whatever you want. You could just play an A7 arpeggio if you want. If we haven't ran through this, there are these arpeggios that come from more of the classical realm, which the Brazilian guitar takes advantage of and borrows that. You can go like this. You use the open string for the jumping, so you can get more than 1 octave without breaking up the arpeggio. You get A7. As you play the open string here is the perfect place to jump. If this is the 5th, who is the next interval in a 4-note arpeggio? Tonic, 3rd, 5th, and 7. So jump straight to the 7. There. And then you keep going. 1, 3, 5. That could be a feature. And then you are back at 1. And so on. And then finally you reach the end of the piece, which is the C part. After you repeat the A, you go to C. And C is basically in D major. So the keys of this song are D minor, F major, and finally D major. And this is quite common in shoulder pieces for you to go to the parallel major key. It adds a nice emotion. So at this moment here, what he's gonna do the melody basically just takes from the arpeggio and goes like this. So he's doing the arpeggio from the fifth all the way to 1, 2 octaves. 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1. And then he does open B. What is the B over a D chord? You need to be able to know this kind of stuff. The B is the sixth. And again, as I explained before, the sixth is a very welcome note over the major chord. So that's why it sounds so good. Listen. It sounds almost like a chord tone, so welcome that it is. So you got this. And then you go. This is very common in shorter pieces, is to do something over the first degree, and then the second chord is the second degree. So here he borrows from the F sharp, which if you saw the harmony lesson, the F sharp, which is the third degree, counts as a tonic function chord. Again, the tonic function chords are 1, 3 steps down, or 2 steps down if you want, the 6th degree, or 2 steps up, the 3rd degree. They all share the same notes, so they are tonic function chords. So the F sharp minor almost works like a D major. And in this case, it descends down to E minor. And the melody goes. Here's the legato. 1, 5, 1. So the melody is simply pa-da, and you can embellish however you want. I personally am doing thumb in two stroke technique. I'm doing finger 1 and then fingers 2 and 3. What I did in my recording, my personal recording, was rasgueado here from flamenco. This is called the rasgueo de abanico. It's a technique from flamenco, but it's very well imported to the Brazilian guitar, very effective technique, and I can explain to you what it is. And it's used for exactly that kind of situation when you want to add a strong, what they call cierre, also in flamenco. It's like you're doing a rhythmic feature, an accent. It's kind of an effect, really. The way I'm doing this is, the rasgueo de abanico has 3 movements. It's movement 1, thumb up. Movement 2, open your hand, keep the thumb up. And movement 3, thumb goes down. So it is the thumb that dictates the twisting of the arm. Thumb up, the arm twists up. When you just open your hand, the arm stays the same. And the reason you do that is so that the thumb stays prepared for the next attack, which is that. So you got this. So you got this. And then the next chord is F sharp, and the melody goes. This song is a perfect exercise for you to get good on the guitar, because it makes you do all kinds of arpeggios that you can later use when you improvise in whatever situation. In this case here, the melody starts on E up to the flat 9 of F sharp. What is an F sharp 7 doing in this case? How do we analyze it? We went over this in the harmony lesson. It is a secondary dominant. It is a secondary dominant, meaning it's a 5 of something, not a simple 5, because in the key of D major, 5 is A. F sharp is the 5 of whom? Is the 5 of B minor, who is the 6th degree, so we call that 5 of 6. So since B is minor, we can use the Phrygian dominant scale, which is what he uses right here. Arpeggio with a flat 9. Flat 9, 1, 7, 5, 3, 1, 7, and back up. The technique is rest stroke, and like many times in the song, I'm using A and repeating the A and A again on the upper string. So my positioning of the hand is like this. I'm positioning the 3 fingers here on the higher strings, and then I'm shifting all 3 of them up towards the lower strings, the adjacent strings, just 1 up. So I got this, A again, and then thumb, and then here B minor. Starts the arpeggio with this melodic little motif here that he did. case, in B minor, this stands for upper neighbor approximation, flat 6 to 5. So you got that? Okay, this is just the straight up arpeggio. 5, 3, 1, 5, 3 is the open string, and 1. So you're pulling off. So now the same thing, we're doing upper neighbor, the chord is now E. What is an E7 doing on a D key, D major key? The E7, if it's a 7 chord, is a dominant chord, so it's pointing towards A7, who was the 5, so we call it 5 of 5. It is the secondary dominant of the 5th. And the scale we would normally use over this, as I've explained before, is the Lydian dominant scale. That is the 4th mode of the melodic minor harmonized scale. But we're not going to use a scale here. But if we did, and I did use in my improvisation in the video from YouTube, it would be the Lydian dominant. It would be the scale with the sharp 4. So you got this. So you got. That kind of phrasing with this sharp 4 is quite nice. And what he does here in the melody, he starts on the 9th and pulls off to the 1. And it's the same thing. A repeats twice. A and A again. Okay, it's just arpeggio. Sequence 1, 7, 5, 3, 1. And go back up. 1, 3, 5, 7. And then you're going to hit the same fingering that we did in the beginning of the song for that fast A7 arpeggio that was twice as fast, which was like this. But in this case, since we're not over a minor key, but now we are over a major key, then you're not going to use the flat 9. This is no Phrygian dominant anymore. It's just regular Mixolydian, regular natural dominant chord. That means normal 9th and normal 5th. So the scale will be right here. So you got the regular 9 right here. And the same idea, remember? You did. And as soon as you get to the A, then you jump to the 7 on the open string. Like that. So notice how the finger A works over the E string and then jumps to the B string and to the G string. So you're using 3 hand positions for these 3 fingers here. The first attack is on the E string and then shift up to the B string, shift up to the G string. So you got. Again. Notice that I'm using the G string to skip. Back at the beginning. Now we're in the half of the C part. So you do the same thing as the beginning. And now instead of going to that same direction of F sharp to E, it's going to go to the B7. So what is a B7 doing in this song? B7 is a dominant chord that's pointing somewhere. If you haven't understood yet how you know to find who is the target of the dominant chord, all you gotta do is just count the 4th up. So B is the dominant of whom? It's the dominant of E minor. And how do I know that? I just gotta count 4 up from B. B, C, D, E. So I know that B is the secondary dominant of E minor. So we call it a 5 of 2 because E minor is the 2. And since the 2 is minor, what scale would we use over the secondary dominant? The 5 of a minor chord, we use the Phrygian dominant scale, which is flat 9, flat 5, flat 6. So you got that kind of sound. So here the melody goes. And I play. This is the only part where you're not playing 16th notes, but you're playing longer notes. And you can harmonize this part. Instead of playing just the melody, you can play it like chords. Simply by playing what's in the shape here. And here is the sixes. This is E minor, and you're starting on the ninth upper neighbor, approaching chromatically your target tone. And since it's the slow part, you can do it in sixes. I believe I have explained in the course that the use of sixes on the guitar is very welcome for harmonization. All you gotta do is just harmonize with the six below, whatever it is you're playing. The six below just needs to respect the scale that where it belongs. In this case, E minor in the key of D. What scale would we be using? Second degree is the Dorian scale. So you just gotta. The Dorian scale here has the 9, the 1, and the 6 below has the 4th and the minor 3rd. And then to finish it off, we're almost at the end of the C part. He plays this B flat chord right here, which is making use of the parallel minor key. This is a rule of composition, that you can always borrow a chord from the parallel minor key. If we're in D major, we would have to know, if you are a composer, of course, you don't need to know this in order to play the song, but just to understand where things are coming from, you need to think real quick. Go back to the D minor key. What are the degrees? You got 1, 2 half diminished, 3 major, 4 G minor, 5 A minor or A7, 6 is B flat. So he's borrowing from the flat 6. So in D major, you're borrowing a parallel from the parallel minor key, B flat. It's quite nice. It has a nice effect to it. So here we go. The melody goes. Yeah, and he's actually making it dominant here, which is fine. This could work as a dominant as well, and then it goes back to D. So let's analyze this real quick before again. 3 1 5 3 1, chromatic down to the melody, and back up to 1, and then back to D major. D major, he's doing just like I did in that A major phrase, do you remember? This is sliding from the 7th to the 6th. He's using this on D major. D major sliding from the 7th to the 6th. So you got this. Okay? And he arpeggiates the B dominant, starting flat 6. A B dominant, what is a B dominant doing here again? One more time, is the 5 of 2. So 5 of 2, again. Here, I didn't say that I was using the hybrid technique by using the thumb as a pick, going up and down, alternating. And then here, this is my personal harmonization. He does a 2-5-1, but the 2 is dominant, meaning E7, A7, and D. In this case, we consider the E 5 of 5, as I've explained before, and A is the 5-1. So the melody goes. So you got this major 3rd. So the way I chose to do this was like this. Finger the E7 like this with the melody on top. The melody is playing the 9th of E. And then A7. Now this note is no longer the 9th of E, but it's the 13th of A. And resolves to D. And you can do an arpeggio. Like that. So you got this. And then you're back on A. You can do another cadence here. One little thing that you could do as an idea of cadence is just to play with these notes. You do a rubato, like a fermata type of feeling, where you just improvise without tempo over the A chord. And this is a little phrase that I've picked up from a recording once, which you can do. chromatically the A all the way to the third, and you're moving the A here chromatically down to the flat 6, resolving to the 5th. It's a nice little classical sounding phrase. Or this is a phrase of mine. It's an A7 chord with a flat 5, sorry, flat 6. Whatever you want to do here as a cadence, you could use a phrase. Whatever you want to do to cause impact, and then you're back at A, and you finish off the song. Skipping to the end. So in this song, you have seen an example of many things that we've discussed in the course, from the technique of a 3-finger rest stroke to the technique of free stroke for the arpeggios. And the arpeggios themselves are extremely important for you to memorize. And like I said, don't ever memorize just by the shape, but memorize by understanding the intervals that are being played right there. And if you understand this piece and you've been able to learn it with the analysis, understanding every interval, you can be sure that you have just upgraded your skills and you're a better player now. So make sure to always learn every piece like that, always analyzing everything that's going on. And good job if you've learned this piece, because this is one of the most known pieces from the Brazilian repertoire as being a difficult piece, part of the choro repertoire as a choro waltz. So I hope you have enjoyed.